And here we go. And this is like an Arabia, it seems, for the first map. So that's probably PoJ's home map, especially when they are as the home team. That's kind of expected. And looking at the civilizations, we have Rabla block from VLNS as Mongol, Sandan is Mayan, Joker is Han, and for PoJ, Smile, Mongol, Freeze, Mayan, and Chart is Hans. So you see a perfect mirror right there. So let's check out how the map looks for the players of this game. So the host of the room is Rabla block, who is also the one that we are having a look at right now, and he's seeing that he does have the gold and the boar right in the vicinity, so he won't be facing any kind of problems in the early game. Also, he sees the hunt on the right, so that's not really all that far away, even though, yeah, it's not really close enough for the scout to actually do something about that. And he will be probably hoping that he can find either some extra hunt around here, or he will be probably forced into the berries pretty soon. So let's switch over the fog of war, and he sees extra boar here. Well, he doesn't, we do. So he will have to hope that he actually sees that pretty soon. Otherwise, we don't really see any extra resources in here. Extra wolf is at the back. That's not really useful for anything. So no extra hunt, only at the very back here. So he will have to hope that he either has enough wood for the mills all this far away, or he will actually have to go for the berries, which is not really all that bad, but yeah, we'll see what he chooses in the very start. I will be now switching for the other player. That's going to be, for example, the pocket red, the Joker. And the Joker is right now having pretty decent distribution of the resources, because both the gold and the stone are at the back of his base, so it will be kinda easier to defend even he's raided, and I kinda think that he will be. And also sees a hunt that is kinda in the forefront, so it seems like to be a theme, especially for the top side or the VLNS, so not really ideal overall, but still. Yeah, it could be kinda easier attainable if they are opting for some kind of mill very far away from their base, which is not really safe, especially considering who they are playing against. But at the same time, looking at the wood patch here, it would be kinda easier for him to defend. Because it will take just a few walls like here and here. This is not really a wall, a long wall, especially considering that we are playing on Arabia. You usually see quite longer walls being built, but well, we'll see how red player actually takes this, or rather approaches this. Does he see the boars somewhere? He is not butchering even the first one yet. He knows about one on the left. Okay, he's already moving there with the female villager, and the other one is still hidden in the darkness, but I don't really think that's going to last all that long, because all it takes is for the boar to move a bit forward like this, and yep, right now he should be well aware, as he's looking with the scout right exactly around this moment, or rather around this place. Okay, so that was the red player, and the last one from VLNS is going to be Sandalen, the gray player, who is also pretty close to the wall here. Not the other one, not the top one, but the right one. And what is true for his map right now is that he has both of these boars at pretty much the same spot together with the extra hunt. So he will be quite interested in there, staying there and potentially luring them in next to the mill, because it's not really far away and will be easier for him to manage. He's right now scouting with this Eagle Scout here, rather patrolling, because he's basically thinking that he is going to be a victim of a boar steal. So is that actually something that his opponent is thinking about, the blue player? Doesn't seem so at this point. He's right now pretty much content with trying to lure some of the deer in so that he doesn't have to waste extra wood for a potential meal. Seems to be reasonably successful at that. Right now we should be already killing it. Oh well, yeah, that's early. Up to perfection, exactly when he actually finished the board, so that was very nicely timed and pretty good play by Smile DK. Going back to the grey base at this point, looking at his resources so far, trying to wall up already with the houses. The gold is very nicely positioned for him, stone as well, so it should be easy to defend for him. Yeah, and these extra gold mines, well, he actually has 2 extra gold mines that are very easily defensible for him. He just needs to put some wall here, that's not really a long wall, and here. And he will be with quite a lot of resources, so I'm kinda thinking this map is very favorable for the grey player, and he shouldn't be worried about some kind of early aggression from his opponents. So yeah, right now he doesn't even need to worry about extra, or rather the ball steal from his opponent, so he should be maybe going for some extra scouting, but he isn't. So we will be switching into the other players, the other team PoJs. While Block is actually advancing into the feudal age pretty soon, with just 17 villages, so that's kinda interesting, and will be also pretty crucial for the early game. Barracks dropped, and I heard them from Grey as well. Yeah, at the very bottom, and he's going for a bit of Drush, so he will be probably facing absolutely the same from PoJ Smile. Let's switch into his point of view. Yeah, most definitely, so that's going to be a Drush versus a Drush, also trying to wall up so that he isn't surprised by some nastiness, and I don't really think that the Drush is going to work all that much, because those 5 Willies here, or rather 6, will be able to defend just as well, especially if they get some extra help from the DC. So we will be seeing a bit of a encounter between those militias pretty soon. Well, they are still waiting here. But right now they are moving in. And are we... Oh, well, yeah, that's definitely something that Blue did not want. He did get some extra damage, extra 9 damage. That could actually be all that game changer. But, well, looking how they are probably going to miss each other. Yeah, they definitely did. This is going to develop into something interesting, because either Grey will be forced to retreat, or we will see something else. Well, let's see about that now. Well, he's running away. Especially right now when the scout is joining in, and Eagle Warrior will be the only one to try and do something about this. Well, this is a pretty successful Drush at this point, because he's forcing the hunt villagers, which is always a lot more important than the wood line, and also he has already killed one, and this is literally quite a long downtime, and he will be forced to retreat with the militias, which he already does, and second Willy down, and yep, that's one more problem for Sandalen, who is right now down to 25 or rather 24 villages, whereas Smiley K, his opponent, is at 27. So 3 villages difference, with Freeze right now advancing into feudal age, and yep, right now he could be actually moving onto the gold line, which would be even more problematic for the Grey player, as he wouldn't have enough time or other resources for the archers that he is bound to be switching into and advance into the feudal age. He isn't either even advancing. Let's switch into Sandalen to have a actually look. Well, he doesn't really have the resources so far, so it's kinda curious. Is he maybe slinging or whatever? No, he isn't yet. Of course, how could he when he doesn't have the market? But this is really curious. Why isn't he advancing so far? Because he's probably trying to have a strong echo as he can right now at 27 Willies, and he will be advancing pretty soon, but still that's going to be a lot later than his opponent, and that really could be quite problematic, because looking how Smile is Mongol, he will be probably going for some scout raiding, and that might be, yeah, kinda tough to defend for him when he doesn't have anything to defend with. Yeah, let's see about that. So let's switch somewhere else on the map. For example, for the purple player who is, well, dropping archery ranges on his opponent right off the bat, and of course going for a faster castle as well in the same breath. So yeah, this is not going to be all that nice for the Joker to defend, especially when he's advancing into the feudal age just now, whereas his opponent Freeze is already going for fletching and having a pretty decent army of the archers. So yep, Red is right now forced off his hunt, rather of his berry bushes, and looking somewhere else yet again. He will be also checking the yellow player who is being raided by his teal opponent, PoJ Chart, who is also having a pretty decent army of scout cavalry, and he is trying all he can to actually push his opponent off the berry bushes. But it's pretty much stopped, because really all it takes to defend against those guys is one spearman, and well, for that to happen though, he has to move him at the crucial positions, and he has to basically follow where those scouts are going, because otherwise he's going to be open to all kinds of abuse. Moving back to the red player, who is also being harassed by some of those villages that have been built in the forward base by purple. This is a pretty strong play at this point, and it seemed like that Smile was actually moving here as well with his militias, but that's not going to happen, or rather be helpful all that much, because Grey was well prepared and did defend his teammate pretty well. Joker is advancing into Castle Edge at least, so he will be hoping that he can survive long enough. But since he wasn't able to build the tower here, which is a pretty big problem because he doesn't have any kind of gold income at this point, I'm not really thinking that he can do anything about that, even in the Castle Age, because he was hoping as a Hun to go for Knights, which would be a pretty good unit, obviously, against those guys, but yeah, that's not going to fly without any kind of gold in your pocket. Switch into Joker to actually confirm, yeah, he has literally no gold. And at this point it would be, I think, a good idea to actually switch into archery range and some skirmishes, but yeah, it's not really going to be ideal, but still he can potentially switch into cavalry archers from the archery ranges, so it's not like it's that bad of a choice, but he needs to do this sooner rather than later. And right now he's given a kind of rare opportunity to actually build this tower, so he's taken all the time that he can actually with that, and he should be successful, I think. And once he does, he will be right set on back in this game with the potential horses there. Something else? Well, still a bit of radiant with the Scout Cavalry vibe deal, but right now quite a lot of spearmen all around the map, so it should be quite easier for him to defend against this kind of raiding, and Teal should be switching into some kind of other strategy. And the Grey player who was drashed at the very beginning is right now going to advance into Castle Age pretty soon, as is PoJ Chardas at the same time, and will we see him helping his teammate? Well, so far he doesn't really have any kind of useful military buildings. He has just the barracks and nothing else at this point, so he's just booming and still having a bit of an open way here into his base, so he better be careful about that. He's probably moving his villager right in to build this hole in the wall. So he was trying to finish the wall in here with some stone wall as opposed to just the palisade wall, which is not going to happen, as obviously purple is switching from harassing his red opponent and switching into the grey one, and well, he better be careful though, because red is in Castle Age and right now switching into the knights, as you can see, and once he amasses a lot of them, or rather substantial amount of them, he will be able to kill all of those archers from both the blue player, PoJ Smile, and also the purple PoJ Freeze. So far though, this is a pretty decent army, especially with the potential advantage of the hill, but red, come on, you have to be careful with your horses, you can't really send them one by one, you need to amass a bit of an army, otherwise you're just going to lose all of them here. Still a few villages left from PoJ Freeze, who are trying to build some kind of buildings literally everywhere to basically establish some kind of map control so that he knows where his opponent is going and also where to potentially build some extra buildings or where to go with his units to harass his opponent. So yep, thanks to the tower it seems like that Red is basically safe with his gold gathering, which is a pretty huge bonus for him as he obviously needs all the gold for the knights and amassing some kind of army. The crossbowmen have somehow found their way inside the base. Not exactly sure how that happened, but it did. Is there maybe a room here? No, it shouldn't be. They are just next to each other, so I'm not exactly sure how they have made their way through. But they did, and oh well, okay, this was through there. Because of the unfinished wall of the pretty good raiding from Freeze, yep, Blue was able to make his way through, and he's right now harassing his opponent quite substantially, and that's a bit of a problem, because he's forcing the Mayan player off the stone, which means that he cannot build, potentially in the Castle Age, that he is in extra TCs, or even the castle that he would be needing for the Blue Archers. So yep, that's a bit of a problem for him, and he will be forced to switch to some kind of military building that he still doesn't have. But he should really be at this point, so not exactly sure what his plan is at this point. Teal has advanced into the castle edge, as we have seen, with yellow finally finishing some kind of wall in, but he is going to be facing quite a lot of knights pretty soon, so he will be forced to go for his own army. Right now he is switching into knights as well, being Mongol and all, and he is having a bit of a hole in the wall, so he better be careful about what is happening somewhere else, rather at that stage of the game. Trying to finish with the annoying scout. Just at the last moment running away, but still this is a pretty successful raiding because it means that Rabla Block is not gathering any gold for his potential army of the knights. We also see a bit of movement of the red from his base to his allies, so it seems like that we will be seeing quite a lot of defense in the yellow base, but it's not like he actually needs it. He's right now already switched into camels, so he's going to be well capable of defending himself against the knight raiding from his steel opponent, and red should be thinking a bit more about himself as he's going to be quite soon raided by the crossbowman, and that might be a slight problem, especially when he is not having any kind of army at his home base. This seems to be brewing into some kind of double from the Joker and also the Rabble block, so let's see if that's going to happen or not. Oh well, probably not. Yeah, Joker right now recognizing that he actually needs to think about himself first, as this is not going to develop into anything nice if he's going to stay with what is happening here. But PoJ Freeze is basically on top of him with the extra TC and also those monks, which are going to be quite problematic for him, as Red doesn't have anything against them, and well, yeah, monks are exactly the right unit against the knights in low numbers. So let's see how this is going to develop for them, whereas Grey is still being pretty heavily raided by a huge amount of crossbowmen, and yet you can see that even though he has finished the castle, this is not going to go all that well for him, as he's losing a ton of villages on this gold mine on the left, and also from the bottom he has lost a lot of villages on the wood line. So Grey is down to 27 villages, which is basically the same as the Joker, who was also pretty heavily raided, and we have seen the first converted knight, yeah, quite successfully, and we see the first GGs being called by VLNS as they are recognizing that they really can't do anything about this game anymore, and the very fast jump of PoJ on them was quite successful indeed. So that was very well played by Power of Japan, and even though VLNS did have some kind of plan, especially you can see the Mayan player was going for a faster castle into the castle and the Plumed Archers, it unfortunately did not work out all that much, and Rableblok was going for a bit of raiding here as he was quite comfortable with his game so far, but yeah, it was kind of way too late and his allies were too far behind in the game and didn't have anything to do against that. Mendevin 2, I'm from the Czech Republic. You probably hear the heavy R in there quite often. I'm trying to battle it and improve, but it's kind of hard, and when I try to go for the R, it's kind of harder to understand me, I think, and also it doesn't allow me to speak all that fast. So yep, I kind of opt for the harder one so far. Reese as the best plane, yeah, I have to agree. His early drop with the archer ranges on his opponent literally at the doorstep was pretty strong, and it basically killed any kind of strategy the Joker was hoping for, and it just snowballed from there, and yep, he was playing damn well. Chart was having pretty good echo on the food and wood, really half bad. That was a pretty fast castle, 1635, it's not half bad. Alright, GG.